Hi, this is Terry. Welcome back to my channel. Today's topic is about holiday traditions and the fact that women are completely underappreciated in our contribution to society by holding up these traditions. There is actually a thing going around on TikTok that has women going, who's responsible for making holidays special? Moms. And last night at dinner, we had a little bit of a conversation about this that left me feeling pretty much like shit. Like all of the time that I've spent propping up the traditions, creating new traditions, communicating with others through the Valentines or holiday cards is, it's like why bother? And it was kind of a painful conversation. And in our household, as it is in a lot of the households of the women and the moms that I know, and in my circles, we're the ones who are the ones who maintain these traditions or create the traditions, and also feel the stress and the pressure of making sure that others are really enjoying all the various different holidays and traditions that come about. Not just holiday traditions, whether it's a Sunday meal or it's spending time together at certain points, or when it's raining that you dig in and you make popcorn and drink hot chocolate or something like that. That these so-called niceties within society happen because most of the time women are the ones who make these times special. And there have been times, just in case you're feeling like, well, then don't do it. There have been times that I've thought about, just saying, fuck it. Let it be someone else's responsibility. But really, I don't want to live in a world that doesn't have these things. I don't want to live in a world where, they're seen as unnecessary. I want to live in a world where, in one day we will get, 4 Christmas cards, and I get to see what's going on in people's worlds because I send out 300 Valentines every year, which we started to do, 5 or 6 years ago when I just couldn't get my shit together for Christmas and thought, well, let me just go ahead and do Valentines instead. I love seeing the cards as they line up in our living room along this fishing line that Zeke put up at some point for something. I love seeing all of the cards line up, and I do know that if I left it to Zeke, we would have none, because I maintain all of those relationships, and I'm the one who maintains all of those connections and make sure that we care about others in our world and in our community. And I'm unwilling to let that go. I'm unwilling to live in a world that doesn't have these kinds of things. It's like imagining that we live in a world without art or music or parks or beautiful things because they're supposedly niceties, but these are things that I think really create the richness and the fabric of our world and our lives. And also I did a little bit of research on why these kinds of traditions are important, and it's not just to make me feel good and me feel happy and like I'm contributing, etc. They are, as I found in my research, critical pieces of our culture. They form the structure and foundation for our families and our society. They give security to young children and older people alike in a time when there's so much that's changing and so much uncertainty. And as you're growing up and experiencing all sorts of new things, these are the things that basically create anchors and create a solid foundation. For a lot of people, it gives a sense of belonging. And I'm not talking about, you can throw religious traditions in here. We're atheists, so we don't have religious traditions. So we've created our own. Or what we've done is I've mostly brought things from my childhood or growing up, like prime rib and Yorkshire pudding and mashed potatoes and gravy and peas on Christmas Eve. I mean, that is something that I brought. Traditions are important because they reinforce our values, and it's also a part of living intentionally with what we want to create in this world. And it's I know absolutely 100% that these things would not happen if I left him up to Zeke, and these were things that are important to me for my children, and whether they appreciate them or not, you know, this is what I want to have exist in the world. Um, you know, some of the other things I think about is like, you know, in 2020, what is going to happen to all of us with our traditions that have been interrupted? Are we going to and are we going to create new ones? Or is this going to forever alter who we are in the world and how we operate in the world? And I don't have an answer for that. We've been relatively lucky that the impact has not been too severe because we had really kind of, you know, to the four of us, to me, my husband, and our two kids, for things like Thanksgiving. Christmas Eve, usually my parents come over, and this year, obviously, they're not going to be able to because of COVID. And Christmas Day, it's always just the four of us anyway. We've had a tradition of going on a hike and then going out for dim sum. We're not going to be able to go out for dim sum because everything's going to be closed. So, and we won't eat inside anyway. So we did talk about Ray making dumplings, or actually all of us kind of pitching in, and them being the one who spearheads the flavors, etc., and the rest of us just being put to work so that we could eat the yummy goodness. So we're changing it up. When we can go back out, I'm thinking we'll go right back to doing dim sum.
Probably.
So this is just kind of a placeholder. Thanksgiving wasn't a big change for us, fortunately. Halloween, we were very disappointed in, or at least I was very disappointed. Were you disappointed not being able to do the big Scare Fest?
I have always found the Scare Fest fun in the past, and I mean, I kind of got to scare people because I wandered around with a severed head in a big dark cloak and just silently followed people in the dark. And so I did get to scare people, so...
So does that mean, like, next year, if we can do a Scare Fest, will we, or do you want to do that instead? Like, get together with your friends and just wander around and scare the shit out of people?
I think I would be fine with either, but it was really nice to not have to deal with the whole organization and coordination of everyone in the thing.
Yeah, which...
it was nice to just either be alone or with one of our neighbors who was with me for a while, and we were just like, how far do you want to follow these people? Do you want to follow those people? Nah. You want to come back and get a snack at our house? Okay, cool.
Yeah, because that coordination and organization largely falls onto me anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and, like, I wasn't even the person organizing, and I could tell it was a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but I also enjoy it a great deal. I think it's something that we give to our community. It's something that I get to do with you. It's something that I get to be creepily creative and just completely twisted. And so that's a fun thing. So maybe next year, if it opens up, we might do it. We might not.
We'll definitely be scaring people somehow, though.
We just don't know how. The other thing in the research about why traditions are important is it gives you good vibes around anticipating something. So I wonder how much in 2020 and also in 2021 we're all going to be impacted by not being able to get those feel-good vibes about being able to anticipate something amazing. You know, there was, when the kids were little and Santa was coming, there was a combination of the massive stress on me. I know Zeke didn't have it at all, around making sure that the holidays were magical. It was important for me that they were magical for our kids. Yes, the Elf on the Shelf was a lot of work, and we didn't start that until we were really late in getting to that game. But man, it was super fun to try to come up with crazy things for the elf to do. Even if at 3 a.m. it's like, oh shit, waking up and realizing we hadn't moved the elf.
Really? I never saw that part of, like, I didn't get to see that behind the scenes, obviously.
Obviously. So, but could you imagine?
3 a.m.?
Yeah, there were times that I would wake up at 2, 3 a.m., realize that I hadn't done something, and it was very important to me that there would be something fun for you. Because I derive a great deal of pleasure from giving other people things or experiences and seeing them light up. And So last night, hopefully I won't cry. Last night was especially hard with this conversation because I have spent so much time and energy trying to create these experiences, whether it was the tooth fairy, whether it was the Easter baskets, or once again, we're not religious, but we piggyback onto all of these pagan-like things. Finding ways to make it so that there were special things that were happening so that they were memorable. I was not a mom who sat down and played Candyland, but I took my kids to museum. I fucking hate Candyland. And I'm a little bit competitive playing games, and so
just a little.
So it was hard playing games with you as kids because I had to set aside that part of me. And this is one of the things that I think a lot of kids don't realize is the amount of sacrifice that goes into being a mom and making sure that we're raising good kids, that we're raising kids with happy, positive experiences, that, it's incredibly hard to have this kind of effort go completely unappreciated, not only in my own family, but also society as a whole. This is like the added labor, the unpaid labor that is completely overlooked and underappreciated within our society, but it's what makes our society, the fabric of our society, tight and rich and magical and optimistic and hopeful and memorable that I think is just not necessarily appreciated to the extent that it should. And once again, I could just completely drop the reins on this one and just let it be, but I don't want to live in that world. And I don't believe that people like my husband or people like my dad will pick up the reins and make these things happen in the world. They just won't. And or the being intentional about the wrapping paper that I bought from.
That was so cute.
It is, but I was very intentional about finding something that was very unique. I supported a Black woman-owned business, and I bought something that they're black nutcrackers. They're totally cute. I'm trying to think. Oh, the name of the company. God, it's Copper and Brass Paper Goods. Sent this little Christmas card and this little bookmark. I mean, I love this stuff. I can't wait to buy more stuff from this place because it's super cute. But I got to be intentional about making sure that all of that stuff is matching under the tree. So, let's see. What else did I want to say about this? Okay, so did you get this at all? Do you understand this at all?
I understand that oftentimes this kind of effort and stress can go underappreciated or unappreciated at all, and that was not my intention last night, so I apologize for that.
Yeah, no, it was pretty sucky. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Leads me to another topic. So this afternoon, it's Monday when we're recording this, I'm kicking off a series of fireside events on Clubhouse. I've created a new club called Women and Power, and I plan to do weekly interviews with women just doing interesting and amazing things and claiming their power to change the world to something that they want, or claiming their power to create something that they want to exist in the world. And this afternoon, I'm interviewing Lily Sparks, who's the CEO and founder of a company called Afterglow, and it is a subscription-based women's porn company, so with an underlying theme of health education. And that triggered an interview for next week with Cindy Gallup, who's the CEO and founder of Make Love Not Porn. And then after I scheduled those two, I was like, I want to do more of these types of fireside chats. So I repurposed a failing club of mine, self-promotion support group on Clubhouse, created the Women and Power. And I'm lining up all sorts of amazing women to do weekly conversations to educate and inform and share information in a casual conversation kind of way, and allow people to come up and ask questions at the end of it about topics that they may or may not be thinking about. And this is going to be open to all, because women cannot be the only ones who are making this change. We need all people by our side trying to push for progress and create a more level playing field. And as Melinda Gates says, if we lift women up, we lift societies up. And I am all in on that. And I would like to see more funding get to women-led businesses. As I've said before, 92% of the venture capitalists are men. And so they're making the decision on what gets funded in the world, and less than 3% of that VC funding, the venture capital funding, goes to women-led businesses. So that is completely out of balance, and it's another reason why I'm doing this series. And I'm excited about that. It's totally in line with what it is that I'm doing in terms of balancing the power, so we can claim our power and change the world. Let's see, is that all I want to do? I think I've got one more thing to say, and then we'll wrap this up. Any other comments?
Not really.
Okay. I'm really sad this year that our favorite tradition is not going to be happening because of COVID, or my favorite tradition, which isn't even one of our own. It's going to our friends Heather and Rob's for the day after Christmas for the cheese and cookie event. They have a beautiful house. They have amazing friends and it's always stimulating conversation with
great food.
Great food.
And the cheeses are both
and
awesome.
Great wine, and the kids just kind of run wild.
We usually play sardines.
I don't even know what that game is.
It's like reverse hide and seek, where one person hides and everyone tries to find them, and then they have to hide with the hider until everyone finds. So you end up being packed into this tiny hiding spot like sardines in a can.
I love that.
Yeah, no, it's great.
So basically, once COVID is gone and under control, we can go back to them playing sardines and then us being able to enjoy stimulating conversation. So I'm going to miss that. We are always the first ones to arrive. We are the last ones to leave. We started that the very first time that we went. Usually that would make me super uncomfortable, but now we all embrace it and celebrate it, and it's just, it's super fun. And so this year, Zeke is working. I don't know if I've said he has had enough of being home, so he's working 2 days a week at REI, and he's using his discounts and whatever he gets paid in order to replenish his, basically replenish his camping gear, hiking gear, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe even get a new bike, so that that's his thing. And so we'll take down the Christmas tree and the Christmas decorations, clean everything up, and maybe we'll try to find a new tradition to set up. Although that is our tradition, is to take everything down the day after Christmas, because by that time we're just fucking done with it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's it. If we do a new tradition, obviously that's going to be left to me, and I just don't know if I have the energy for that or not. So we'll have to see. As always, if you think of somebody who might appreciate this little rant today, and maybe feel a little less alone and isolated in what they experience, please share it with them and ask them to like and subscribe to the channel. I would also like for you to like it. I do have questions for you to answer in the comments if you'd like. Do you have any favorite traditions? Who is the keeper of traditions in your family, and how is this year different for you? Would love to hear the answers to those questions, and I'll go ahead and put them in the description. And with that, thank you so much for watching. Let go of perfection, take some risks, and above all else, have some fun this holiday season. Cheers.